Well, good morning, everybody. I know it's a holiday weekend. I'm glad you didn't take a holiday and you're here with us today. Maybe if you're a guest with us, I just want to welcome you and thanks for coming. If someone invited you or brought you along with them, thanks for accepting their invitation. If you're just driving by and you came in on your own, I'm glad you had the guts to come in. So we're glad you're here this morning and hope you feel at home. We're not strange. We just love a great big God, and we know that His love towards us it kind of elicits a response. And so our music and everything that you've probably experienced so far has been kind of the result of that. It's just our response to the overwhelming love in the nature and the character of God. And it's impacted our lives all in a different way. And my prayer for you is that if you don't know Him, that eventually as you draw closer and closer through the things that you hear and the things that you see, and you begin to move towards God, that as His love moves towards you, man, you'll experience Him in a huge and powerful way. So if you're a guest with us today, we're glad you came. At some point in the experience, if before the end, when we pass our offering, it'll be a bucket that comes by. There is a card up underneath the seat in front of you. If you're a guest, you want to let us know that you were here. It looks like the one on the screen up there. Just take a quick second if you want and put your information down there. We'd love to call you and welcome you. If you've got any questions about Life Church, we'll be glad to answer them. But most of all, we're just glad you're here this morning, because we're in the middle of a series that to me is one of the most important things that I think I've done in a long time, as far as what I've brought to those that are here. And, you know, I know it's a holiday weekend. I almost took a break from the series thinking, you know, there's going to be people gone and all over the place. And, you know, some folks are getting a long needed break from their jobs. And, you know, some of them are off on Mondays. They've gone away and stuff. But I thought, you know, I'm not going to take a break from it, because if you're here, you should hear it. And the free CDs are free at the end of every experience, so anybody can pick one up. But I'm going to continue today to talk about what we began last week, which is a series on the names of God. And last week, we looked at one of the compound names of God that was called Jehovah Rohi, spelled R-O-H-I. And that simply means the Lord our shepherd. And I talked extensively about that and gave you a little insight as to what that means. You can get one of the CDs out there. But the whole purpose of this series on the names of God is to help us truly understand and grasp the heart of God. Because unless you understand the heart of God towards you, towards humanity, you can miss out on everything that God has for you. The way that God thinks towards you and has conducted Himself and what He's already done on your behalf, you will miss out on it if you misunderstand the heart of God. Because if you don't understand the heart of God, you won't understand the nature of God. And by that I mean this: the nature of God is who He is. It's what He does. It's the very essence and the character of God. And that's really important. It's like in a relationship. Everybody that ever begins a relationship with someone, whether it's a friendship or one that you think may move towards something more serious, that relationship is about discovering who that person is. And let's just be honest, it's to find out whether they're truthful or they're a liar, right? If they really are what you think they are on the outside, if that's truly them on the inside, you kind of want to know that, because you're not going to invest yourself in something where you're going to lose something, and you're not going to put your heart out there where someone's going to take advantage of it. I mean, a relationship is about discovering who the other person is, and in turn, them discovering who you are. Well, unless we understand the nature and the character of God, you won't position yourself in such a way to receive from God all that He has for you. You can view God in error. In other words, you cannot see Him for who He truly is and completely miss out on all that God has for you. You see, to know the names of God is to understand the character and the nature of God, because the names of God reveal His true identity, His character, and His nature. And this is important because the Bible tells us in 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 2-4, that you and I can participate in the nature of God. And by that I mean this: when we come into relationship with God through His Son Jesus, everything that means to us, that provides for us, all of the blessings and the promises and the benefits of that relationship are ours when we know they exist, when we know what they are. It's like being given something and not knowing how to use it. Somebody one time gave me this funky looking thing made of wood that's got, it looks like a pyramid times 12 or something. It's just like this wood puzzle. Anybody ever seen one of those things? And supposedly it comes apart if you do it in the right way. You know, I've had that thing for years. It sits next to my desk at home, and I've still not been able to get that thing apart. I'm about to take a hammer to it. But I've been told that there's this exact right way to push on this thing. Now, we're talking years. I've been sitting around playing with this thing. I've banged it on the floor. I've done like this, trying to jiggle something loose. I've pushed from every corner you can think of. I have no clue how to open up that puzzle. And then I'm certain I wouldn't know how to put it back together. I've even been on the internet looking up, trying to figure out how to get this thing undone. Somebody's so smart, they don't want anybody to know. They just want us to think that it really comes apart. I'm almost convinced it doesn't come apart. But I can see that it does. Now see, without the right information, without knowing how that thing works, I miss out on what it does. I miss out on its end result. And in a relationship with God, unless you understand the character and the nature of God, when you come into relationship with Him through His Son, you will miss out on all of the benefits and all of the spiritual blessings that come from that relationship unless you understand His nature. But to understand His nature, you have to understand who He is. And what allows us to understand who He is are His names. They're descriptive names, they're compound names, and these names give us insight into His character and nature, therefore letting us know what the benefits and the spiritual blessings are of a relationship with Him. And there are far too many people who've secured an eternal ticket to heaven, and they're missing out on all the blessings and the benefits from today. I mean, to sing a song that says, no more weeping, no more tears, no more sorrow. Do you know, I know there's a culmination of that's going to take place in heaven, in eternity. But you can begin that journey today. You can begin a journey of restoration and recovery of emotions and heartache and breakup and letdown and all of the things that, as Cammie was saying, that happen in this life. You can begin a journey with God today if you understand that He's a God of leading you as a shepherd. And of what I'm going to talk about today, He's a God of restoration. He's a God of joy and of peace. He's a God of strength. He's a God of comfort. All of these things are given to us because they are the nature of God. They are who He is, and we discover those by knowing that that is His name. It's one of His names. He's the God of all comfort, the God of all peace, the God who leads, the God who provides, the God who heals. He's the God who loves. He's the God who extends mercy. All of these things are ours if we know that they're there. But you have to know the promise before you can experience the blessing. And here's oftentimes what happens. People don't understand the promise. They don't understand the nature of God. Therefore, the promises of God, they have no faith for them. They have no confidence in them because they don't understand the God who made the promise. Let me say it to you this way. Our faith in the promises of God are only as strong as our faith in the God who made the promise. And unless we truly know the God of the promise, we cannot truly have faith for His promises. To say He's a God of love but not know that He is love means you might miss out on the God of love. You need to know that He is love. In all of His being, He is love. Therefore, that lets you in and keys you in to receive His love. It's not where I'm going today, but it is the descriptive names of God that form our perception of God. If you think about it, before you ever came here, maybe if you're a guest today and maybe you're still kind of new at this, your perception of God right now is based on some information that you've gathered along the way in life. Maybe it was from TV what you saw. Maybe it was through a friend's experience. Maybe it was your grandmother, your mother. Maybe it was just watching from afar. This has formed your perception of God. And here's what you need to be careful of. It's just like any natural relationship. If you don't know somebody, you better be careful that you do not take someone else's word on someone without getting to know them yourself, because you may form a perception of them that is completely inaccurate, that's wrong. I know in this city, there are people that say things about me that are completely untrue. I hear them. They post them on Facebook. They write them in emails.